10 News begins with breaking news.
We begin with breaking news out of Barrio Logan, where a massive fire has broken out at a warehouse. In just the last few minutes, we've seen towering flames shooting from the roof as firefighters urgently tried to cut their way inside with a saw. Good evening, I'm Derek Stahl.
And I'm Lindsay Pena. Kim and Steve have the night off. Photojournalist Paul Anderig is live in our 10 News breaking news tracker. Paul, it sounds like firefighters have made good progress on this.
Yeah, you can see they've got a pretty good handle on it. There's just a little bit of white smoke coming from the roof of that building. You can see the firefighters are, some of them are coming out from fighting that fire right now. This started about 10 o'clock tonight. I'll show you some video of what it looked like when those flames were ripping through the roof of what used to be an Aramark Uniform Supply Company store, but now it's just an abandoned building. So for about half an hour, those flames were just raging out of the roof, uncontrolled. Firefighters went into what they call a defensive mode. That's where they fight the fire from the outside because it's just too dangerous to go inside. They have aerial ladders up, spraying water down into that fire right now. They had to cut their way into the metal doors to get into this abandoned building. Fortunately, there's nothing really adjacent to it, so no evacuations were necessary. It didn't threaten anything in the area other than the building that was burning. So again, a second alarm fire here, no injuries, cause is under investigation. Masked investigators just showed up a short time ago. They're going to be trying to figure out what started this fire. We're going to stay on scene and continue to bring you updates on 10 News.
All right, thank you for that update, Paul. And more breaking news tonight. A University City dog is happy to be back with its owners after falling into Rose Canyon. San Diego Fire and Rescue came out for Bruno, the 115-pound bull mastiff. Bruno was walking off leash with his owners when he suddenly ran off.
We're on a walk and he happened to see a bunny or something, came over the railroad tracks and went down a steep embankment down there and couldn't get back up.
At one point, Fire and Rescue landed a helicopter in the canyon. They ended up pulling Bruno up the cliffside in a net. Thankfully, nobody, including Bruno, was hurt.
The winter storm warning in the San Diego mountains has been lifted, but it left behind 8 to 10 inches of snow.
The storm caused a traffic nightmare this morning over I-8. 10 News reporter Matt Boone has a look at current conditions near Sunrise Highway.
Yeah, while the bulk of the storm has moved on, we're still getting a little bit of this weird, icy, wet moisture coming down. And here on Sunrise Highway, the chains required sign is still on for people trying to make that trek up to Mount Laguna along these potentially icy roads.
They're pretty easy.
After a day in the snow,
It's like a special link on it.
the Monk family made it safely back down the mountain.
It was beautiful. There's still quite a bit of snow up there.
Maureen Monk said they came prepared with chains, but the roads were cleared by the time they got there.
It was pretty good. There wasn't any ice going up.
She says they intentionally avoided this mess earlier on I-8. While the view was beautiful, traffic was brutal. More than a dozen cars were stuck in the snow or slid off the road before CHP shut it down around 9 o'clock at East Willows Road to clear the snow.
Trying to get to work by 10 and I've been sitting here. Oh, it's killing us.
Up in Julian, the streets were packed as well, people itching for some of that mountain charm.
It's a great day. Lots of people coming around, everybody having fun.
And of course, it was a good day for selling pies.
I think it was around 200. It was a good amount.
All roads have since reopened except for part of Sunrise Highway into Julian past the snow gates. And as temperatures drop below freezing, CHP and Caltrans say they will continue to monitor roads for dangerous conditions.
And the CHP says they're expecting a very busy weekend for people coming up wanting to play in the snow. They say, though, even if the roads look clear, make sure you bring those chains just in case and be prepared. Reporting on Sunrise Highway tonight, Matt Boone, 10 News.
And that winter storm caused flooding in the South Bay that led to an unusual rescue. A FedEx truck making deliveries got stuck in rising floodwaters in the Tijuana River Valley. Well, lucky for the driver, a rancher on horseback came to the rescue. The rancher was able to get the driver onto the horse and the two rode to safety together. A number of people in that area have horses and they've been fortifying their properties with sand to keep the water away from their animals.
The ground is saturated, and it always collects right here, but it's much worse than it usually is.
Over in Bonita, a golf course was pretty much underwater. In Spring Valley, road closed signs popped up once again on Quarry Road.
One National City family is considering themselves lucky after waking up to the sound of a tree crashing outside their home. That tree caused serious damage to the family's two cars, but thankfully no one was hurt.
Yeah, we're very glad that it landed on the vehicles instead of our house, but still, it's still damaged and we're still pretty sad about it.
City workers cleaned up the debris in the street, but the family is responsible for removing the tree from their cars. On top of it, the family says their auto insurance doesn't cover this type of accident.
Well, at this point, the storm has pretty much moved out of our area. Maybe a sprinkle here or there. Jennifer De La Cruz is here tracking the next winter storm.
Yes, we're already talking about another storm moving in just as this one finally starts to exit San Diego County. We had quite impressive rainfall and snowfall totals, but once again, this system is in the past now, making its way off to the east into Arizona and parts of Baja California. We do have a slight chance for a sprinkle or two, but overall we should be mostly dry. But we do have a really nice weekend ahead of us, mostly sunny skies, but yet again another storm moving in, peaking on Monday, lingering into Tuesday morning, where we should see some drying into Tuesday afternoon for your Christmas Eve. I'm tracking how much rain and snow we're going to get with that storm coming up in your 7-day forecast.
All right, thanks, Jen. More breaking news now out of Los Angeles, where a young girl has died after having a medical emergency aboard a flight out of LAX. Authorities say it was possibly cardiac arrest. The Delta flight to Seattle turned around while still over Southern California to land back at LAX. Paramedics there were unable to revive the girl. Her age isn't known, but she's believed to be around 10 years old. There are no immediate signs of anything suspicious about her death.
President Trump is facing a potential crack in his wall of Republican support. Alaska Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski says she's, quote, disturbed by statements from Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. She's one of just several lawmakers that will be under the microscope when Congress returns from the holidays. Republicans Susan Collins and Mitt Romney will also be watched closely to see how they vote in the upcoming impeachment trial.
If it means that I am viewed as one who looks openly and critically at every issue in front of me rather than acting as a rubber stamp for my party or my president, I'm totally good with that.
Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi still has not sent the articles of impeachment over to the Senate.
Christmas Day has come and gone with no sign of that so-called gift from North Korea. North Korea made the ominous threat this month after denuclearization talks fizzled. Today, spy planes took a peek into North Korea looking for signs of a possible missile launch. Earlier this week, satellite images showed construction activity at North Korean military bases associated with missile production. President Trump didn't seem worried.
Maybe it's a nice present. Maybe it's a present where he sends me a beautiful vase as opposed to a missile test, right? I may get a vase. I may get a nice present from him. You don't know. You never know.
Officials will be keeping their eye on Kim Jong-un's New Year's address, during which North Korea could decide to announce major decisions.
That must have hit you like a ton of bricks.
It did. It was like 2 days before Christmas.
A new law about to take effect is creating chaos for thousands, possibly millions of California workers and businesses. It's meant to protect workers from being taken advantage of. But new at 11, 10 News reporter Jeff Lasky reveals why some say it could put them out of work instead.
Caitlin Healy loves her job. She translates Chinese medical documents into English and works as an independent contractor.
It's pretty specialized. Most companies would only need my services maybe once a week, maybe once a month. So I work for many, many different clients.
Healy was shocked last week when she started getting emails from longtime clients saying they would no longer use her services. Not because she wasn't good, but because of a controversial new California law taking effect January 1st. It's known as AB 5.
They said that it would reclassify me as an employee, which they can't do, so they'll be sending work to vendors based in other states.
People are very, very concerned about this, Jeff. They just are.
Dan Eaton is an employment law instructor at San Diego State. Eaton says AB 5 is meant to define who should be an employee and who can be an independent contractor. That's important because employees must be given crucial benefits like overtime pay, meal breaks, and more that independent contractors don't have to get.
What they intended was that they wanted to protect California workers, some of whom they felt were being exploited as independent contractors.
Protests sprang up throughout the year as the bill was debated in Sacramento, from Uber and Lyft drivers to truckers, fitness trainers, and exotic dancers. Some workers supported the new protections, but others worried the companies would let the contractors go rather than hire them as employees.
A lot of these people who were independent contractors saying, wait, we like the arrangement as it stands, and what you're doing is you're interfering with our ability to make a living.
Whether it was intended or not, this is what's happened. I've lost my job basically overnight, and I don't have a clear path forward.
Some industries, such as doctors and accountants, were given exemptions in AB 5. Healy says industries like hers need the same, but it may come too late for those who are losing their livelihood now. Jeff Lasky, 10 News.
Now, Assemblymember Gonzalez sent us this statement. It's unfortunate that a few companies may try to evade the law by simply not hiring California translators. We look forward to ensuring AB 5 is fully implemented next year and clarifying the law for legitimate small businesses.
Bands and balloons took over the streets of downtown San Diego today, with thousands of people piling in to watch. The annual Holiday Bowl parade rolled on despite the threat of rain. Bands from both schools, USC and Iowa, marched in the parade. Parade organizers say America's largest balloon parade included more than 30 balloons. The actual Holiday Bowl is tomorrow.
And for anybody planning to attend the Holiday Bowl tomorrow, you might want to consider taking the trolley. The Green Line runs right to the stadium. There's going to be a lot of parking at the trolley station, so you can just drop off your car and then ride the trolley to the game. And as Lindsay mentioned, kickoff is at 5 o'clock.